Yeah, hi, this is Vipul from Comply DP.
Hi, this is Sanket from Comply DP, and today we are talking about the recent uh, judgment on WhatsApp's privacy infringement, which has been observed by Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant. What did he say, Vipul?
He said that if WhatsApp has to remain in India, it must abide by the law of the land, that is Indian Constitution. If it wishes not to, then it may leave the nation.
Right, that is a very stringent statement taken by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, and they're also imposing a 213 crore penalty on its parent Meta because they were sharing the data to its parent company in a very broad manner.
And why do you think now it has become important for few of the companies, especially in e-commerce, something like someone running a Shopify website?
So, this judgment is a precursor towards the up and coming implementation of Digital Personal Data Protection Act of 2023 and along with its rules. So, a lot of companies are going to be under the ambit of DPDP Act.
Okay, can you, for our viewers, elaborate or explain in a very brief manner what DPDP overarchingly means for people in the corporate or business sector?
Definitely. Digital Personal Data Protection Act is an act which has been established by the Government of India in context to any digital data which is being collected and being shared by the Indian citizens.
Yeah, so Indian citizens to companies.
Right.
The company may be either from India or maybe from outside. So can we also bring to the attention what data here means, who is collecting and who is basically providing, so that we can put a legal labeling in the context?
Definitely. So, according to DPDP Act 2023, anyone who collects data from an Indian citizen becomes a data fiduciary.
Correct.
And similarly, a data principal who is someone who gives their data towards a particular data fiduciary, and their particular rights are at the helm of that data fiduciary.
Okay, so I would also like to add here what data primarily means for someone who is not in this specific genre and who does not understand data. So loosely it means that any kind of information associated in under for this law or for the concern of DPDP, data like emails, then phone numbers, and what else comes to your mind when data for as per the context of DPDP?
So even taking someone's name or taking someone's email ID
Right.
puts them under the purview of DPDP Act.
Correct.
If I were to talk about maybe just one example use case, and that is Shopify brands.
Sure.
Most of the Shopify brands I have come across don't even know what DPDP is. They don't even know what data they're collecting, and they are particularly at a very high risk exposure in that sort.
Okay, so what kind of data do you think they're collecting and still are unaware of?
Definitely, Vipul. First of all, before even collecting any data, the government has regulated that you have to have a consent.
Correct.
For what cookies you're using.
Right.
Cookies are those particular data packets which a company uses for a necessary and a particular performance function.
Right.
That is the first part, and most of those brands do not have it.
And specifically, we have seen across a lot of audits that their cookies fire even before any consent form appears.
Definitely.
Leave alone the dashboard for changing the consent or amending the consent later on, or specifically reskinning the consent given earlier.
Then the next part, if we go there, we find a lot of people are actually just copying data privacy policies.
Correct.
From US and EU, where the laws are irrelevant to the Indian context. So that also puts a lot of Shopify owners under heavy exposure of risk because they don't even know what they're pasting it there, and they become heavily liable.
Right. So, for example, when Sanket talks about the copying and pasting of privacy laws, most of the laws have been so far written primarily for GDPR, maybe CALOPA, and especially in the health sector, then HIPAA and all. So, but those laws have their own legalities and concerns and their own way of implementation, which is definitely different from DPDP.
Right.
And also at the level, so at the surface, we can also say the level of stringency is far higher in case of DPDP. For example, in GDPR, before imposing the fine, the authorities or the boards there look for the revenue a particular company is making, among other aspects, what they consider. Whereas in DPDP, such concern or such factoring is not necessary.
It's not even there.
Like, so it means even if you're making 2 crores, what fine
you might be liable up to the penalty of 250 CR.
Correct.
And that is really a make or break for a lot of brands in India, or even Shopify owners, to be honest.
Most of the Shopify owners, it would not only shut the shop, but it will put them under a huge debt and very difficult situation to
definitely
get over.
Right. What should be the first thing a Shopify owner or maybe a brand owner must do before he falls into such penalties, or maybe it's too late in terms when a government comes and asks for their consent records, or maybe an investor who probably they are thinking of raising funds comes and says, oh, I'll do a due diligence before investment, and they are at the lapse of DPDP Act. What do you think?
So first of all, they should have a consent form. They should have a cookie form to begin with. So anyone, let's say we start with the home page for the people who understand Shopify or any e-commerce website. So as soon as you land on the page, there should appear a form taking the explicit consent for the first thing, that is cookies. And before that, nothing should fire. Just to clarify a little further, cookies could be of 3-4 types, like functional, for marketing, for analytics, and probably if not categorized among in the first 3, then others.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers who are Shopify owners might be asking what even are cookies, and we'll just give an example. Right. If you are running Meta ads and you have Meta Pixel installed on your code, so it is a cookie. If you have Google Analytics on your code base, it is also a cookie.
Yeah, it's an analytics cookie, right?
Yes.
So cookies, let's say a website has cookies, it means that it stores the data for certain amount of time. So generally, as per the DPDP, the website should take the consent.
Definitely.
As of now, what happens, even without the consent, if you go through any cookie scanner, and we have a cookie scanner available even at the complydp.com, and so if you audit any website, you will see even without taking consent, there are hundreds of cookies or maybe tens of them which are working behind the scene. So it is something which is there for helping the user to get that personalized experience. But at the same time, that data also get misused, and that is why this law is coming in the picture.
So most of these cookies are particularly international companies like Meta, Google, even we'll say some Indian brands like GoQuick and all. So they will take the data. So they are known as data processors.
Right.
They are the third-party vendors who a Shopify owners gives their data to.
Yeah.
And that liability also comes towards the data fiduciary, which is the Shopify owner.
Yeah. So data fiduciary, just to clarify again, is someone who is collecting the data of user or the data principal as per the law.
Right.
And also, just to add to it, while first of all any Shopify owner would like to put such cookies like Google Analytics cookie or Meta cookies, so the first thing might come to their mind is that why not stop using them to get away?
It'll be really difficult, to be honest, if I were not knowing where my customers are coming from, in which location in India, or particularly what's their preferred language, or even if a customer has just come and bought previously, so at least my meta pixels would know he is a regular customer. So I'll show them that ad particularly, so that the
Correct.
customer retains with my brand.
Yeah, so Google tag is also utilized by most of the Shopify owners for providing or showcasing their ads on the different websites with the help of Google.
Yeah. So that is what the first part is, which are cookies.
Correct.
There is a whole lot to it, particularly in DPDP compliance.
Right.
We as a company, Comply DP, are particularly pioneering in DPDP compliance, starting from each data collection point towards the end of data subject rights workflow as well. So we keep Shopify websites, and we've worked with major websites who trust us. Most of them have shared with us their pain, that how they would take their data. So initially we provide a very free external audit.
Just to get a little bit now away from the specifics, let us try giving the Shopify owners what all they have to take care if they have to comply or if they have to abide by this law. So there are 6-7 broader things. One of them we have already discussed in some detail, that is consent.
Right.
Similarly, there is something called breach readiness. So you'd like to throw some light?
Yes, definitely. So in case ever, and in a very feeble cyber security currently with the advent of AI, a lot of data breaches are happening. So in case, God forbid, any data breach happens, so the government has laid down a 72-hour timeline that you have to act upon it and let the customer or the data principal know that there has been a breach.
Correct.
So there must be a breach readiness flow in case a breach happens. Yeah. So that has also been laid by the government of India.
Correct. And the second or the third means first consent, then breach, and the next comes in notice and disclosures.
Right. In terms of notices, when you have to particularly create consent, so you have to give a particular notice that, okay, we'll be taking this data of yours that will be used for this particular purpose, and this is how we will use it, and also share where all the data is being shared to.
Right. And similarly, law also mandates, as far as we understand, that you have to also provide options in terms of Indian languages or scheduled languages of India when you are providing notices to the users, because I believe most of the Shopify don't sell to a specific region where most of the users belong only to one linguistic criteria.
Right.
So when the linguistic criteria varies, so they also should have the right to easily read and understand the notices given by the company. So that is another part.
There are 22 scheduled languages under the Indian Constitution, and the DPDP Act mandates that the notice must be in each of these languages, so that any data principal who is a resident of India would be convenient to. It would be convenient for them to understand. Oh, these are my rights. These are the issues, and these are the information that the website is taking from me.
Yeah. So next thing comes rights and grievances.
Right.
So the language comfort has been given so that their rights are respected or they can exercise their rights well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So a data principal has multiple rights.
Correct.
For example, first of all, okay, the right to erasure, the right to modification. The right to erasure means, for example, if a Shopify owner has been requested by a data principal to remove the data about him, apart from the compliance of the law of the land, the data must be removed and be informed towards the data principal that, okay, now your data has been erased clearly. And in case of any modification is required, for example, if the address has changed or probably there's some error in the information given by the data principal, so he can easily rectify it.
Yeah. So all the Shopify owners have to respect now the privacy rights, which is going to be enforced by DPDP Act and rules in India.
And there must also be a grievance redressal officer, particularly in case of a data fiduciary. And if it comes that your brand or your company is a significant data fiduciary, you'll have to create a data protection officer for the same.
Right. So currently also you can assign that job to someone who is also, let's say, taking care of the compliance. So you can also call him DPO if you're not a SDF, significant data fiduciary.
Definitely.
So another part is consent. Consent has already been taken. Cookies. So cookies is a specific area where you are passing on the information to the third parties, and you should also showcase the contract which you have with those parties for processing the data of the users which data fiduciary is collecting.
So each particular cookie must be clearly defined and explicitly mentioned in the cookie policy that we will be sharing the data with these particular vendors.
Correct.
Apart from that, there is also cross-border data transfers and disclosures. For example, if in India you're giving particular data to a company in US, for example, I'll just name one, like that's PostHog. So
Correct.
those companies' server are set up in the US. So in that terms, if you are sharing the data to them for analytics, you are liable to be sharing the cross-border data disclosure. So
To the data principle.
To the data principle.
Right.
So this is also another information which has to be clearly and explicitly mentioned.
Right. And similarly, we have to also, we would also like to inform our viewers that there is a specific kind of consent specifically for children and disabled people. So
Yeah.
there is a concept called consent through the guardian or
Yes.
guardian consent.
So if any person is under the age of 18, it is clear that their consent is not regarded. So either their parents will be giving the consent or their guardians. Either he's a child, or if there is a mental incapacity for the same to,
Right.
give consent for the same.
Correct.
So these are the major heads what DPDP compliance works on. And we as Comply DP have a cybersecurity techno-legal team who helps companies who are Shopify owners get their DPDP compliance ready, starting from the audit towards the implementation as well.
Correct.
And this is what we are doing, and we want all our brands to be at least aware that there is such a problem which is there.
So the question arises, why should they be involving, or they should be taking this path currently of complying with DPDP? Is it the right time, or they can wait further? Because this is one of the questions a lot of Shopify owners have in their minds.
Right. I came across a few people. I was just sharing that there is a DPDP compliance issue on the website, and most of them told them, so what do I have to do with it? So ignorance is not actually a solution, first of all.
And definitely not a bliss in this case.
And it's not a bliss, and particularly we have to keep learning, because without compliance of the law of the land, we cannot operate any business easily and smoothly. Otherwise there will be a lot of hassles, and as we mentioned, the penalties up to 250 CR, they are gargantuous in amount. So we always have to be very wary of the same and get
Also,
our websites ready for
Correct.
DPDP.
So also the one part of the question which I raised was, why now? So many say that it's still some time. Government has recently suggested that it might not even give 18 months of time from the day rules have come into picture, and it can, or it is even thinking of reducing it to 12 months. So the time is less is one thing, but if you associate time with the cost, in the sense let's say if you'll be asking any company to do the compliance work at this stage, because one thing is very clear, the supply of the legal luminaries in India is not growing at a very rapid rate.
It is fairly limited.
Right.
The reason why now also comes in because it takes around 4 to 6 months to be actually DPDP ready.
Correct.
It starts from even masking the data of the principal.
Right.
It also requires DSR workflows, breach readiness, to, particularly inform the team what are their roles and responsibility, align a grievance officer. So it is a very complex process. It is difficult, but it could be done.
Yeah.
And the compliance will definitely make your websites one for the longer term.
Yeah, and you can also market yourself that you respect or you are one of the most private or privacy loving websites, because a lot of consumers now have a distrust toward these e-commerce platforms that they tend to sell and share the data with third parties, and in turn they get scammed or they get a lot of calls. This is something also a little irritating and puts them in a discomforting position.
So it's the faster we get DPDP compliant, the smoother we do business, and maybe it might even help businesses grow faster, considering, as he has rightly mentioned, that if a particular Shopify owner cares about their customers' privacy,
Correct.
which means he's going an extra mile for their customers, and that is how a longer brand retention period happens. So this is today from our side, and we'll be coming back with more information for you all.
Yeah.
And
if you have any questions, you can
obviously
write down in the comment section, or you can also email us, or you can call us.
You can reach out to us at sanket@complydp.com.
Correct.
And if there are any queries, we have LinkedIn and YouTube. You can drop down as comments, as he has mentioned, and you can just come down our website and just fill the contact form, and we'll be right by you, and just discussing, and even giving you a free external scan for the same.
Yeah, and we are also thinking of some kind of discussion, a one-to-one, if it is a possibility with you, if you have any doubts in
so
your
if
mind.
you have any doubts, you definitely can come to us, and we also have a particular Calendly link on our homepage, so you can just book a call and we'll be there for you. We'll be helping you smoothly sail through the DPDP compliance. So thank you all. See you on the next episode.
Thank you.